Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to break down the AC2 Nylon by Kiesel Guitars. One of the common things that a lot of people run into is the comfortability of playing a nylon guitar with this genre in particular. And I think this addresses a lot of those issues. It basically feels like an electric guitar. So the access to the 24th fret is amazing. Very easy to play. With low action, you'll be able to get a lot of left-hand taps in there. So I'm going to break down some of the tonal options that you can get with this thing. I'm also going to break down how I get my tones with it, little tricks that I use. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So from here, I just go from the guitar into my interface, and then I choose a plugin. Now you can really pick any plugin you want, because a lot of the stuff that I'm going to do isn't really related to an amp. It's more or less the EQ section and the cab IR that I'm going to add in there. So the first thing I'll do is I will add a bit of compression. So that's just going to level out my playing a little bit more. The left-hand taps are going to come through a little bit more. The right hand, like, harder hits aren't going to be too hard. It'll kind of level each other out and you'll have a more even sound. So then I bypass the amp, as you can see up here. And this is where I import my IR. So one thing I like to do is if I want an actual like nylon guitar sound, load an IR of a classical guitar or any acoustic guitar for that matter. But I picked a classical guitar for this one, and it gives it more of a full bodied sound. So if you go, and then if I get rid of it, it's not necessarily better or worse, it's just different tonal options, which is why I think it's kind of cool with this thing. It's kind of like a blank slate. If you're going to make music, you put in this DI signal and you can basically make it into a classical guitar, or you can make it into this more modern stringy type of sound, depending on the music you're making. So I think that's why it's like really cool to be able to like have this blank slate that just feels really comfortable to play, and then you can pick and choose what you want to do to it after the fact. And that's usually what I tend to do with my music when I'm adding in nylon guitars. Sometimes it's like I want it to sound like a classical just right in front of you, and then sometimes you want it more of like a textured thing. So that's where maybe not having the IR on will help, and then you can just use that. Another thing that I like to do is EQ. But basically what I like to do is just accentuate the points of the tone that I love, and then cut the parts that are either too boomy, let's say, or too muddy or too harsh. You know, you can kind of sculpt that out. So every IR in this particular case is going to be a little different. Every guitar is different depending on the strings, your pick, how you play. All that will be different, so you can EQ as you go. So jumping into the tone knobs right here. For this one, this one's bass and this one's treble. So you can lower or raise depending on where it's at. Now you can feel somewhere in the center, it kind of like clicks, so that's neutral. And if you put it all the way down, it gets rid of it, and then it boosts it as you raise it up. Lowering the bass down, bass all the way up. Okay, treble, neutral, all the way down, and then all the way up. So in this particular case, what I want to do is actually roll off some of the low end right here. So I'm going to roll it back until I find a nice consistent sound that's not too boomy. Okay, that sounds good to me. I'm just going to go back to my nylon sound with the IR in it. So this is the sound that I would use for like, this is like my playing if I'm doing a solo or a riff up front, not more of a textural thing. And even on codecs, you know, I use this on the breakdown part. So what I like to do, I added some distortion on the side ones right here. And then I have my centered one, which is the full nylon down the center. And that's how you're able to use this in like a songwriting context, rather than just straight up one guitar doing one sound. You could do multiple sounds with that. picks up the attack really nice, especially if you get it like around here. Has that good percussive sound. But yeah, I love this thing. I hope this was an informative video, and I'll see you all soon.